Yeah, so the bottom of Gimel Amud Aleph. I'm Rav Yehuda Mishmol Hamavis Chaveru LaAsr Shanim Shvis Mishmata. So therefore, if you have, there's going to be two Lashonos here. This is the first Lashon. So you give a loan for 10 years, there's no loan. So because Shemitah gets rid of it. I mean, what's the pashtus? If I give you a loan for 10 years, you have to pay me back. You don't have to pay me back. What's the pashtus?
Give someone a loan, they have to pay
No,
it back.
I'd say you don't have to pay it back because that's the whole thing of Shemitah is Shemitah gets rid of your Shemitah gets rid of the the money that's owed, so you don't have to pay it back. So that's the first. I forgot. Even though now it's not law Yugush, in the end you come to law Yugush. If Kahana brings it from our Mishnah, how much do you want to pay? So you change it from 10 years to 3 months. So the Adim Zomim, the guy's gonna be potter until he doesn't have to owe him anything in 10 years. So he has to pay him the whole loan. Now he said that he has to pay him now, so instead of paying nothing, he's paying the whole amount, so he should pay the whole amount. So here Rava is making a kimpta in the Mishnah. The Mishnah is dealing with the case of a malva ala mashkon. So when you have a malva mashkon, so therefore, let's say you give me $100 and I give you my watch. So my watch is there basically already as a payment. So it's like there is no loan when you have a malva on a mashkon. The mashkon really is payment for the loan. So therefore, it's like there is no loan. And Moshe Sharish lebeis then. So Shemitah doesn't. So Rashi says who prusbul. So that kind of takes care of that. So you have the prusbul. The Tanan, which says so the Tanan just backs up this idea that says it's now Ike de Amri. We have an Ike that we have a second lashon here. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Hamaves Chaveru Lesser Shanim. So if you have it for 10 years, Ein Shvius Mishmato. So then Shmis does not take it out. Therefore, if you have a loan for 10 years, you got to pay the loan. Now here we have the little gimel there because the halacha is like the second lashon. Now a general din in halacha is when you have the two lashonos, you go after the second lashon. It's also what's called going after the basra. So you have the second one, and so you have the one of the maklokas in between the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah is that the Ramah goes after the basra, whereas the Shulchan Aruch goes after his four. He's picked his four rishonim that he's going to paskin like. And is to the exclusion of everybody else, and he just goes wherever whether you have the majority of those. Whereas the Ramah goes like the Basra. So it isn't really the Basra because the Basra is more that you're older, so you've seen more. So Rava and Abaye are at the end of the Amoraim, and even though they're not as great as those before them, they've seen everyone's arguments. But we go the halachic principle that even when you have an Ikeda Amri, the second lashon, then we posken like the second lashon. So therefore, we have the Ein Shvius Mishmato. So now we're going to have in the second lashon, we're going to have Ananami Tanina, that the Mishnah is a support for this, that you don't have to pay back. You do have to pay back the loan. This is the lashon of the Mishnah. So and if you say that Shvius is Mishamet, Kulahanami boy Lishmule, so therefore since they don't have to pay everything, it's a according to the second lashon, they don't have to pay everything because it's not shaman. So Rava here is saying that you can't prove from the Mishnah that you have to pay the loan because we make an akimta in the Mishnah. Again, you make a doichech akimta in the Mishnah that it's mava ala mashkon v'moiser stars lebeistin. Now again, why is an akimta a bad teretz, and therefore we prefer not to make an akimta? Again, Rava has to make this akimta in order to be doiche, in order to push off and say it's not a raya of Ein Shvis Mishmata that you still have to pay. It's not a raya because we're making this. It's not every loan. It's a loan on the mashkon. So if you're trying to teach something, if you're trying to teach a law, you will always give. So again, every law you can have it to be true or false. Can you drive on Shabbos? Well, if it's a petrol car, then it's an issa deraisa. The person has to go to hospital or they're going to die, so it's mutter. But if someone asks you the question, can you drive on Shabbos? The obvious answer would be no, because more cases is not driving. So if you say you can drive on Shabbos, it would be misleading, even though you're talking about a specific case of B'chuk Nefesh. The more general case will be that you cannot drive on Shabbos. So can a Jew eat pig? So the simple answer would be no, because that has the most wide-ranging applications. Is no, a Jew can't eat pig. But it's b'chok nefesh, or he's going to die, so he can. So when a kimt is always a bad answer, because you don't want to teach a halacha in a limited manner. You want to teach a halacha in the most obvious manner, in the most wide-ranging manner. So the Mishnah to put on a kimt in the Mishnah is always going to be a bad teretz. So here Rava to say you can't prove from there because our Mishnah is talking about a specific case is a bad teretz. Anyway, that's the second lashon. So now the question will be, what's the maklokas between the lashonos? And secondly, then we have the second case here. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Ha'omer lechavero, on condition that Shvius doesn't will not work the loan. Shvius still breaks the loan. So Lema Kesef Shmuel Amadat Makshav Torah Kumatzam Makshav Torah tonight bottles. So you can't make it tonight. Let's make it tonight between us that shmita doesn't exist. So you can't make it tonight. The shmita doesn't exist. So now you see here we go into an itmar, and in the itmar they have a maklokas on oina. Rav says yesh alav ona, and Shmuel says ein alav ona. But yet by shmita we don't seem to have the maklokas at least brought down here. So is Rav arguing there as well? Ha itmar alei amar Ravana ledidim farshela minei to Shmuel amanash ein lecha alayona. So it's where there is a thing called ona, but you won't invoke ona on me. Ein lo alav ona. There's no ona almanach ein bo ona doesn't have ona. Yeah, it's got ona, but you don't, but you can't, but you're not going to. So you can't say there isn't ona in this transaction. No, there is. But you won't enforce the ona. It's an entirely different agreement we can have between you. You're saying there is ona, but you're just not going to infuse it. And the basic pshat is that because you can make any tanai you want, that's in moment. So therefore, hachinami al menashelo tishmanini shvius ain't mishmatos. If you say that shmita doesn't apply, shmita applies because there is you say there is no such thing as shmita. There is shmita. If you say that you won't enforce shmita on me, so therefore there is shmita. So again, we have the, what is the maklokas here? So we have in the Minchas Chinuch, mitzvah 477. So hine hatoveya choiv she'avra. So you're in the shmita. You're claiming a choiv and that it's been through shmita. Alav shmita oiver biyase. So you're over nasa. So if somebody owes you money from shmita, and you say, "Give me my money," you claim the money, so you're over anase, and you're also over lotase. V'chutz lezeh havi afkecha de malcha de hachov nifka. So there is no choiv. So with the way that the Minchas Chinuch is explaining it, he's saying it's an avkata de malcha, so that the king comes. How does shmita work? The king comes and he says again, what's the date? It's at the Rosh Hashanah of the 8th year. So the king comes at that point in time and he says all loans are cancelled. And since all loans are cancelled, so then you don't owe any money. Gemara ani noten lachaki chov nifka memela. So when he pays him, he says, so that he doesn't have a loan, and even if he gives him baratzun hatov einamoyel kikavar nifka. So he comes and they have the stories of in the Gemara when they come and they say, here's the money, and you say the shmita is mishmamet, and they say, well, afal pikan, then I'm going to pay you. So the way that the chinuch, that the Minchas Chinuch is explaining it, he says that if katz de malcha, therefore there is no loan. Therefore, when you come and you pay back, there's nothing to pay back. So here we have the Sefer Yirאים. The Sefer Yirאים v'chov sha'avar alav shvius eina rishai loiva la'akvo ela al pi malva. So the chov she'avar lav shvius. So you have a chov. So I owe you the money, and the shmita comes. Ein rishai loive la'akfo. The loive can't keep it. Ela al pi malkav shekol zman shelo hishmato malva chayev lepro. Because the whole time that the shmita hasn't kicked in, then you chayev to poro. Ela loive yasmin malva ledin shishmato lo choiv kasher tziva hayoytzer. But the loiva can bring the malva to din, because that the malva has to be mishamet the choiv, because Hashem has commanded the malva to be mishamet the loiv. Based in yechayvu le malva loimer mishametani. So therefore, the malva comes to say, forces the malva to say, I am mishamet you. So again, this is 180 degrees from what the Minchas Chinuch is saying. The Minchas Chinuch is saying that if the malva comes to claim from the loiva the money, the loiva is not chayiv to the malva anything, because God has got the malva. There is no loan. The way that Yirאים is explaining the situation is that there is a loan. However, the malva has a mitzvah to mishamet the loan. So the chayiv the malva to say mishametani kasher tzivay chachamim katatam besof shvis umatin le b'shava hamachzir chayiv lechaver b'shvis sarach sheyemor mishametani. So when somebody comes, so the loiv is chayiv to the malva. The loiv brings the money to the malva, and when he brings the money to the malva has a mitzvah to say mishametani. Even though he's so chayiv to him, he has a din that he has to say mishametani. Ve'im oimer afol piken ikabal mimenu. And if he says afol piken, even though I am going to pay back, so then he can take it from him. Because the malva, there is a loan. So the way he's learning, there's a loan that's there. The malva has a chiyuv to say mishametani. And therefore, once he says mishametani, so now he's done his mitzvah. Now he's done his mitzvah to set alone, so he can makabel the money from him. Shenemar v'zeh davar hashmitas. The davar shmita is that you have to pay back. You have to pay back. You speak about. You say mishametani. The basin will force him to, like we say in Kesef al priyas bal choiv mitzvah shehi ilo boy lemavid mitzvah. If he doesn't want to do the mitzvah, Amalei Tanya, but my reminder mitzvah lotas have mitzvah zasik going shamar lo say sukkah v'lulav the eno say makana so agitates an nafsho, so that you give a makos into deals. So when he has a mitzvah, there's a mitzvah zasay to do of to say mishamatini, the basin will force the lover. So a simple nafka mina will be a rasha who doesn't want to do who doesn't want to do mitzvahs, who doesn't care about. According to the the malva is a rasha. Can he force the loiva to pay? According to the Chינוך, he can't, because there's no loan. There is no loan, therefore there's nothing to pay. There's nothing for the loiva to pay. But according to the Yirאים, as soon as he says mishamadani, he can force the loiva, because there is a chiyuv of a loan here, or the opposite. If the loiva is a rasha, so therefore according to the Chינוך, he doesn't. There's nothing to pay back. But in the second lashon, then in according to the Yirאים, there's a loan, there's a chiyuv he has to pay, but if he doesn't care, so then he doesn't pay it. Now we have a look at the Rosh. So this is the Rosh here in Makot. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Hamavis chaver la'asr shanim shavish mishmato. V'afokav tahacha lo karini bei lo yigosh lo yigosh. Ikata Amri, as chaver hafakav de'islay lo yigosh. So Riva pasuk b'chol makam halacha k'lashon rishon. So here, so the Riva is saying we always go like the lashon rishon. Shekach hayu shoynim rov chachamim. So he says that. So I don't know if this is a general rule that the first lashon is how most people learn the sugya. So in Ikeda Amri seems to be like a minority will learn it this way. Aval yesha oimer b'lashon zeh the kenkas of Rabbeinu Eliyahu Zaken b'azhar zman aser ki yavenu b'chetzi yemim yazvenu. So we have here a Maklokas showing him as to which is the first lashon and the second lashon. Rabbeinu Tam poisek lashon achron v'hagia ba'azoros v'lo b'mishpav t'chetziyim v'yazvenu v'havi raya mihachu teperk mi shemes. 5 devarim nimru b'shosvenus nikvis b'beistin. So 5 things are collected in basement. Ve'ein shvis mishmeta keven dehashta lokarin be'lo yigosh afapita telechimati zmana ati lechol lo yigosh v'lav raya hu. Kulahai deshani hasam deshemer la'olam lo yivoli day purion dekamen devarim miakvin lepurin kadisa hasam. So he's just saying here that the machlokas that there's two lashonos. V'odavi raya me'ahi depers kol get. Hamalva mayos es hakoyen es halevi es ha'ani lios mafresh alehim mafresh becheska shehem kaimim. So if you give a loan and then you're taking the loan out of your truma meiser, so then you presume that the vegetables and the fruits are still available. But ein shvius mishmata. My time to look karina by lo yigosh. Afogav da'ata lekla. Even though lad achers man the bal habayis ein yichol lachzer bo. V'gam zeh yesh litchos. There's another reason you can't deshemen lo yivo lidei lo yigosh. The kohen yichol lachzer lavotem mecha. Kumihu nira de halacha kalishna basra. So this you hear that nira de halacha is like the sakna de peshita the matnitin messiah lelashna basra. V'tiyuvta de lashna kama. So again, Rava has to bring the ukimta in order to support the first lashon in order to say it's not a proof in the second lashon. So the pashas of the Mishnah is that you collect after 10 years. Ila de Rava dachile, but Rava is just pushing it off. Va'od de shavias bismanazet de rabbanan vaslidin nokula. So Rosh gives the second reasons why we're going to go like the second lashon. So here we have the pilplei charifta in the samak that since the shis is manazez rabbanan, therefore we go lakula. So the pilplei charifta, the katav of Beis Yosef Siman, the Yosef says of im tema ha besveika de mamona as linan lakula lenitva. So since it's a sveika de mamon, how can we be going lakula? But how can the kula be that that you can still collect the money? The kula is that the malv is the loan is still in place. Why is that a kula? Shavias is the rabbanon. So therefore what? So therefore, v'hacha have ipcha kula le toveya. It's a kula for the toveya. So that the nitva. So there we see that he's bringing here in Gittin and the basin Siman Zayim Zam that in the sveika the mamona you go to kula for the nitva. Why the nitva? Because the nitva is the mukzak. So how can we make a kula for the moitzi? The moitzi, the malv is the moitzi. The loiva has the money, and the moitzi comes and says, "Give me my money." He says, "I shmita." No, you still owe me. So how is that a kula? We don't give a kula for the moitzi. We give a kula for the muksak. The hakra havi ibcha kula le toveya. So the answers v'nerali the time mishom the shmita isurehi. So since shmita is a din, it's not a din in Momon, it's a din in Isser v'Heter. Since it's a din in Isser v'Heter, so therefore we're being makel by not enforcing the Isser. So therefore, if you have suffix treif, if you're makel, then it's kosher. So you're not enforcing the Isser. So then Kevin the Rabbanan he bisman azeh. So we're not enforcing the Isser. So now what just happened here? In the Piltach Rifta that he's learning in the Reisha that's going about according to Mammon, and then in the Sefer he's talking about Isser. Now these are the two shitas of the Minchas Chinuch. Minchas Chinuch says it's Afkat Malka. So since it's Afkat Malka, so therefore there is no loan. So therefore, why are you paying at the end of 10 years? Why is the loiva paying the malva? Because they make up a brand new. So at the end of the 10 years there is no loan. But we're going to make up between us that you're still going to pay me. So it would be some type of contract where you owe me $1,000. After 7 years, the $1,000 disappears, and then you mechayiv yourself in a brand new chov of $1,000. That's good for 3 years, and then that's what you're paying at the end. So because God gets rid of the first loan, it's just a brand new moment between us as to how we're going to explain it. So that's how he's understanding in the Havamina, since it's Momon and then it's Kafta de Malka. Again, that's how I would understand that God comes and he gets rid of all the loans. So God gets rid of it. So there is no loan there. So how you claim it? Oh, there's a brand new loan, and we can make a agreement between us to do whatever you want. If you just want to give me $100, you just give me $100. That's okay. So here in the Yirאים, saying that the loan never went away. It's that the malva is chayiv. So the loiva yasman malva ledin shaman lo chayiv kashertziva yotzer ubeisin chayiv la malva lo mishamatani. So he has a din that he's a chov. He has like an isser to collect that money, and he says the money is owed to him. The money is owed to him, and he's an isser to collect the money. That's why the Rasha doesn't care about his will collect the money, and he's not stealing. So the Malva has an Isser, he's owed the money, and it's a mitzvah to say, I'm not accepting that money that you owe me. The Chinuch, the mitzvah, the Minchas Chinuch can't say that because he's owed the money. Sorry, there's no money that's owed to him, therefore he's not being saying here. Now there's a Gemara that Rav is all upset. They say, why is he upset? It's because he came to give me the money, and I said Mishamadani, and now he doesn't owe me anything. And then as a rabbi said, no, he has to say FOP Kane, and he comes back and he tells him FOP Kane, and then takes the money. Now, according to the Chinuch, it doesn't really make so much sense, because if he's not owed the money, then why is Rava upset? If there's no choiv, the choiv is gone, and Rava's upset. Any mitzvah. So God said that there's no ifka tamalka. God said you don't get this money anymore. And the whole thing that Hillel is saying, that you have these people who are not so kosher, who are not going to loan because they're going to lose the money. So what? They're not going to say Rava's one of these guys that God says there's no loan anymore. He's all upset now. It's just like, hey man, listen, there's a lot of mitzvahs that cost money and they're expensive, and you just pay the money for it. I mean, living as a Jew in New York is a hell of a lot more expensive than living as a goy in New York. Even just buying challahs. I mean, 2 challahs in New York is probably like $100 or something these days. So, but it's not like they sit around upset all the Shabbos because God took your money because he said, I want 2 challahs. So according to the Chinuch, it's not so posh, but according to the Yirאים, so then, and also now the Rosh, again, so we'll see that, but according to the Yirאים, there's the loan, he's owed the money. He's Taka owed the money, and Rava did his mitzvah, and he still owed the money. So there, it's more shaykh that he's upset, and then he goes and he gets the money back at the end. So here he has a chiyuv in order to he still has to pay back. So now if we have a look at the Gemara, we have the first lashon of the Ikeda Amri. So the Hamalvis Chaver for 10 years, Shavias gets rid of the loan. Why does Shavias get rid of the loan? Because it's a Afkasa Tamalka. It's going like the Chinuch. And therefore, it's gone. There's nothing to do. And then the second lashon would be the Ein Shavias Mishmata, because the loan is still there. The loan still exists. Now, if you have a look at the case of Shmitas, Shmuel says that Hachanami Almanat Shelo Tishmati Shvias. So on condition that Shvias doesn't work, ain't Shvias Mishmata. Okay, so you say there's no Shmias, everyone will agree it doesn't work. There's nothing as Shmias. Like saying there's no such thing as Shabbos. So here, Almanat Shelo Tishmateni Shvias. So if you say here, on condition that you don't exercise Shvias, so then you can still you still have the money. Now, if it's a din in mammon, so that works. If it's a din in mammon that you say that since I owe you money, you're going to just make up this new chayv in order that you're going to pay. But if it's a din iser, so therefore you can't hold that shvius will work, because you say because shvius came in and it created an iser. So therefore you say, and you come and say, you can have when you make a mammon, you can have any any Tanaim you want in moment. So I'll make a Tanai with you that you owe me $100 as long as you don't keep Shabbos. Or you owe me $100 as long as you, we'll agree between us that you can eat that pig. So the contract doesn't go as far as Isser V'Heter. Since it doesn't work for Isser V'Heter, you can't. Then you'll say that it doesn't work. But if it's just a din of moment, so then you can make whatever taina you want to make. Now, there are svaras you can say to counteract that or to disagree with that. But again, l'choira, that's the machlokas in the first two lashons as to whether it's the first one's a din of moment and then the second is a din of nisr, and then that comes out in the pilpta charifta. So again, everyone's poskening, or at least it's a maklos rishonim, but the main poskim are poskening like the second lashon, and the pilpta charifta says there in his teres that it's an isurahi, which is going like the Yirאים. So the Yirאים would be the ikr. Now there's a shaila. There's a shaila told to is asked to Rav Zalman Auerbach about a Baal Tshuva who was collecting money after Shemitah and now he wants to do Teshuvah. What should he do? So, I think Moshe Feinstein says that the Iker is like the Yirאים. But Rav Auerbach says that many people posken like the first lashon and say so we're posken like the Chינוך and say that it's moment. So therefore, if it's moment, so therefore, you have issues of collecting the money because there's no loan. If you go like the Re'im and you want to do Teshuvah, so there's no problem because it's only a mitzvah you didn't do before. So that the fact that you took the money isn't such an issue. And so working within the Chinuch, Rav Auerbach still finds heterim for the Baal Tshuva with umdanas. I mean, the umdanas are a bit, the umdana that somebody who's not from wouldn't loan the money if he knew that, God would take it away from him later. So really there's an umdana that when you're making this loan, because let's say because they bring a case of where you're a frummy and you take a loan from an Amma Aretz, and then Shemitah comes and then he says, okay, can I have my money back? And you're like, oh no, God cancelled your loan, I don't owe you anything. So there it's like a Chilul Hashem and an Isra, no? So it's so they said that would be an Osir thing, so therefore he also took so to here for the Baal Tshuva would be Osir. But anyway, so you have the two shmitas in what Shemitah is, how it works. Is it after the Malka, or is it like the Yirאים that it's the Chayv is still there, it's just you have an Isra V'Heter, that you have a Chiyuv and Mitzvah in order to say Mishamatani.